1. The Smiling Man at the Motel. I don't know how I ended up at that dingy roadside motel. I just needed a place to sleep for the night, and it was the only thing within miles. Something felt off the moment I stepped into the lobby. The air was stale, like no one had walked through in years. The clerk, an older man with a forced smile, gave me a room key without saying a word. I felt eyes on me as I walked down the narrow hallway. The lights buzzed overhead, flickering every few seconds, just enough to keep me on edge. My room was at the very end, room 103. When I unlocked the door, the musty smell hit me like a slap to the face, but I was too tired to care. Everything inside the room was wrong. The wallpaper peeled in jagged strips, and there was an unsettling stain in the shape of a handprint on the ceiling. I locked the door, double-checked it, and settled into bed. That's when I noticed something strange. The door to the closet, just a crack open, reflected in the bathroom mirror, perfectly aligned with the bed. The room felt suffocatingly quiet, the kind of quiet where you hear your heartbeat in your ears. I pulled the blankets up to my chin, trying to ignore the weird hum coming from the vents. As I drifted off, I heard a soft creak, like someone shifting their weight inside the closet. When I dared to open my eyes, I saw something through the sliver of the mirror. A pale, smiling man standing in the closet, grinning ear to ear, his eyes wide and unblinking. I shot out of bed, turned the light on, and swung open the closet door. Empty. I laughed nervously, convincing myself it was just exhaustion playing tricks on me. But as I crawled back into bed, I felt it. The unmistakable sensation of someone crouched right behind me, their breath tickling the back of my neck. I didn't stay until morning. I grabbed my keys, left everything behind, and ran. But sometimes, late at night, I still see that man's smile reflected in dark windows. 2. Don't look in the forest. I grew up in a small rural town, surrounded by dense forest. The kind of place where nothing happens until something does. My best friend Max and I spent our summers exploring the woods, but we were always warned, don't go past the old fence, that part of the forest belongs to them. We never knew who they were, just that it was a story passed down for generations. One night, out of boredom, we decided to test the old tale. Max hopped the fence first, and I followed reluctantly. As soon as we crossed, the air felt heavier, like stepping into a dream where everything moved slower. We wandered for what felt like hours until we stumbled upon something impossible, a clearing filled with strange, motionless figures, carved from wood, but lifelike. They stood in a circle, all facing inward, as if waiting for something. Each figure was eerily detailed, their faces frozen in expressions of terror. One of them looked exactly like the town's postman, who had gone missing years ago. Max laughed nervously, but I could see the fear in his eyes. The forest was too quiet, and the scent of decaying leaves clung to the air like a warning. We turned to leave, but the path back was gone. The trees had shifted, closing in around us, and then we heard it. A low whisper carried by the wind, telling us to stay. Max panicked and ran, leaving me behind. I tried to follow, but the forest was disorienting, and soon I was alone. The last thing I saw before everything went dark was the wooden figures turning toward me. I woke up at the edge of the forest, alone. Max was never found, but now, every time I walk by that clearing, there's a new figure in the circle, and it looks exactly like him. 3. The roommate I never had. When I moved into my first apartment, I thought things were finally looking up. Cheap rent, decent location. What more could I ask for? The only downside was that the previous tenant left in a hurry, abandoning most of their stuff. The first night was uneventful, except for one weird detail. I found a sticky note on the fridge that said, "Don't let him in." I figured it was a prank from the last tenant and tossed it in the trash. A few days later, I started hearing noises at night. Scratches at the window, soft tapping at the front door. When I looked through the peephole, no one was ever there. But one morning, I found another sticky note, this time on my bathroom mirror. "He's getting closer." At first, I thought someone was messing with me. Maybe the old tenant still had a key, but every night the noises grew louder. Heavy footsteps pacing the hallway, faint whispers coming from the closet. I started sleeping with the lights on, too afraid to close my eyes. One night, I woke to the sound of the front door creaking open. My heart raced as I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. But when the operator picked up, the voice on the other end wasn't human. It whispered, "He's already inside." I ran out of the apartment, leaving everything behind. The next day, I called the landlord to ask if anyone else had a key. She seemed confused. "Sweetie," she said, "you're the only tenant in that unit. No one's lived there in years."